Now, how much would you pay for a bottle of wine? 50 Rand, 100 Rand, maybe 200? Well, get this, a very special centuries-old bottle of local wine will go under the hammer tomorrow. Auction house Strauss and Company estimates the 1821 Grand Constance could fetch as much as R500,000. It was known as a favorite of novelist Jane Austen and Napoleon Bonaparte, and it's been in the care of 7 successive generations of the Joubert family. So, is wine a good investment, or is this purely for collectors' value? And most importantly, does it taste good? Let's find out from Roland Peens, wine specialist and auction partner. Roland, that much money for a bottle of wine, what makes a wine that valuable? Is it the taste or is it the story here?
Well, I think it really all comes down to rarity, Tapfuna. This bottle is extremely rare. There are only a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of this particular wine anywhere in the world. And now being 200 years old, this is the second bottle that's come up for auction this year. But what's incredible about this bottle is these sweet wines tend to age very, very well. And not only is it a good investment to purchase, but it also will drink very well if you're brave enough to open the bottle.
What does a R500,000 Rand of a sweet wine taste like? Like when it goes down your throat, Roland, does it taste like R500,000 Rand?
Well, that's all relative, really. South African wine has inherently been underpriced or relatively inexpensive compared to the fine wines of Europe. And there are many wines from France and from Europe that reach these sorts of prices. South African wine hasn't got there yet. And this is a wine that could get there because of its famed history, because it's still in production in Constantia today. It's a great story. We know the provenance of this bottle, where it has been for the last 200 years. It was destined for Santa Anita Island to be drunk by Napoleon himself, and unfortunately he passed away in 1921. So the wine order was cancelled, and these wines were then sent to the market. And here we are 200 years later selling this wine that was destined for Napoleon himself.
So when you buy this wine, if you're one of the lucky ones who can afford it, what do you then do? Do you open it and drink it, or do you store it? And if you do open it, what happens if you find out that it's corked and it's not as great as you thought it was?
Well, that's just unfortunately the risk that you take with older wines. This is a product that's alive. It really depends on the purchaser. Are you going to keep it for another generation to sell in maybe in 100 years' time? Are you going to have it on your 70th birthday as a big celebratory drink? Really, it depends on the buyer. I've been lucky enough to have 200-year-old wines before, and what oxygen and what aging does to the wine over that period is it makes it incredibly complex. And often you open these wines and the whole room gets engulfed with wonderful aromas and flavors and so on. So this will be an incredible experience for the bidder, and hopefully shares it with some wine people as well.
Very quickly, Roland, I only have about 30 seconds left with you. You did mention that South African wines are undervalued. So is it a good idea for us South Africans to collect wine? Are we ever going to see the kind of value that you see for old French wines further down the line?
It's happening. It's happening, Tafuna. We've seen it with the Strauss & Co. Wine seller partnership over the last 3 years. South African fine wines are achieving incredible prices on the secondary market. So absolutely, buy South African wines, store them correctly, and down the line you're going to make incredible returns, often better than the returns that you'd be getting elsewhere or from a bank.
Roland, thank you so much for joining us. Roland Peens from Strauss and Company's Fine Wine Auctions Director. Annika Larson is getting ready to put in a bid for that very expensive bottle of 1821 Grand Constance.
I would be better off making a bid and buying that wine because I wouldn't open it.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, would be tempted one Saturday night. I could see it about 11 o'clock.
We're drinking that with my friends.
Go, oh yes, I've got a great bottle of wine for everyone to drink. Whereas mine, it would just stay there.